Hi, parents. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Candis Cochran, and I'm a counselor here at Faith Promise. And I am so glad that you're taking the time to come out and to listen and learn a little bit about internet safety. So I'm here with Samantha Hicks, and she is the prevention educator at Street Hope, Tennessee. And she's here to talk about how we can help keep our students more safe on the internet.
Yes, I'm super excited to be with you guys today to share this information. So thank you so much, Candis, for inviting me out here.
Absolutely. So Samantha, tell us a little bit about Street Hope and what you're here to kind of talk about.
Absolutely. So Street Hope is a faith-based nonprofit organization, and our mission is to end the sexual exploitation and trafficking of children. So one of the things that we focus on is prevention, and that leads into internet safety because so many predators are using the internet to reach kids online. So it's really important that parents know how to navigate the internet safety and to be able to protect their kids, because oftentimes kids don't want their parents to know what they're doing online.
Okay, so as a parent, how do I know what my kid's doing online?
So what I always suggest to parents is to make it a rule in your house to be able to follow those kids' account or your students' accounts that you guys have. And so if your student has an Instagram account, then you create an Instagram account. So that way you know what they're posting online and know that if there's any risky information out there, you can talk to your child about that. Because you are in that position of authority to do that in your student's life, and that can really help protect them to know what they're posting online.
Okay, but what if they don't want me to follow them online?
Then I say you put your foot down and use that role that the Lord has given you as the position of authority in their life and really make that a requirement. If they don't want you to, then they don't get that account and they are not allowed to use that social media account. There are also a lot of good resources out there that parents can use to help know more information about what it is online that kids are using.
Okay, so tell me some more about these resources. Like, how can I find out information about apps that are even popular?
So one of the great places to go that I personally love to go myself is Common Sense Media. It's a website that shares so much information about apps, games, movies, any sort of media content that students or people use is out there on Common Sense Media. And it will give you a review of that app with a lot of information. And so that's a great resource. You can also set Google Alerts. If you have a Google email address, you can set specific terms and they will send you articles anytime something is posted about that content. So you can set an alert for internet safety or new apps, and then it will give you information every day if it's related to that content. And then another great way is to follow trending apps online. You can go to the App Store and just see what's the most common app that's out there and follow those apps, because that's a great way to find out what is popular among students. There's a lot of apps that students are using.
Okay, good deal. So what about like apps that are dangerous? What apps are like the worst?
So there are a few apps that I really do not like at all. The first one is called Omegle. Omegle is an app that students use to talk to people that they don't know, complete strangers. It even says on their homepage, talk to strangers.
Oh, no.
And it's highlighted, Candis, in the middle of the page that predators are known to use this website, so please be careful.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
It does, right? To me, it just screams danger. So do not let your kids use that to find a way to video chat with a random stranger. It's just not good. Also, there's an app called Monkey. Monkey is another video chatting app that students will use to talk to strangers. It's a 10-second video, and at the end of 10 seconds, they can choose whether to continue that conversation or not. It's just another way that students can meet complete strangers. Also, there's an app called Youbow. Youbow is like the middle school version of Tinder. So you have to have your location services turned on, and anytime somebody is in your proximity that's close to you, you can either swipe left or swipe right if you like that person or not. And if you decide that you do and you swipe right, it automatically connects you to your Snapchat and Instagram account.
Oh, goodness. I thought Tinder was bad enough for adults, y'all. Come on.
Right? Right? I don't know why these things are created. stupid, but they are. And then finally, just to give you one more, there's an app out there called YOLO, which is pretty funny that people say, but the app is actually an anonymous way that kids can post comments. Anytime an app gives you anonymous authority to post comments, that just opens the door for cyberbullying and provocative content. So this app is actually attached to Snapchat. And so when a student posts a picture on Snapchat, then other students who have YOLO can make whatever comment they want. So you can see how that can be dangerous. But there's also apps out there that hide information, like the fake calculator app that you guys may have heard of.
Yeah, so how do I even know if my kid is using the fake calculator app?
So it's not as hard as you may think. What's crazy about the fake calculator app is that it really looks and functions like an actual calculator. So if a student opens it up or a parent sees it on a phone and opens it up, it will add, subtract, do all of those normal math functions. But if the student puts in their passcode, whatever that code may be, then it will peel away that first screen and pull up all of that content that they've been hiding. So the way that you can find out if your student has that fake calculator app is by checking your data usage. So you'll go under your data usage on your phone, and the standard calculator that's installed on your device doesn't require any data. So if you see a fake calculator or a calculator app that has data attached to it, then that's your red flag that tells you this app is really doing more than just math functions.
Oh, okay. So like if the calculator says it's using like 2 megabytes of data, then that's a red flag. Like that's not a calculator.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about students. What about parents? What are some things that we do online that we don't even know is dangerous?
Yes, absolutely. So it's really easy to say that students make poor decisions online, but adults also do that too. So some of the things that adults do that they may not realize is risky is checking in location. So if you guys have ever checked in your location online and tagged where you are, that can set up routines for predators to follow. So if you do this regularly and you stop at Chick-fil-A before you come to church on a regular basis, then predators who may be on your account can see that information. Also, hashtagging. Hashtagging is very popular nowadays, but what a hashtag does is connect your post to every other post that has that hashtag. So say it's your student's first day of kindergarten, and you want to make a post that says hashtag first day of kindergarten. Your student's picture is now tagged with every other picture that has hashtag first day of kindergarten. So a predator can actually go online and put in that hashtag and see all of those pictures of little kindergarten students. So it's risky to do that. Even if your account is private, it could still be connected to all of those other posts as well. And then oftentimes people don't realize that people can follow you on Facebook. If you guys still have Facebook, they can follow you and you don't even know. You don't get a notification about that. The default setting that's set on Facebook is to allow followers to be public. And so you have to go in there under who can follow me, under your privacy settings, and set it to friends only. Because followers can see your posts, your updates, your location, and all of your profile information.
Yikes. Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Pretty scary, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know that about hashtags. Like, that's wild. Like, I just thought they were trendy. Like, what?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, so what types of things do predators look for that kids are posting online? Like, what are some, like, red flags? Like, oh, my gosh.
Absolutely, yes. So this is really important. So some of the things that predators are looking for in kids is provocative pictures. So when kids are posting pictures that are nude or showing way too much skin, that's something that gives a big red flag to a predator that says this student wants attention. And so they want to reach out to those students and give them that attention that they're seeking. Also, when kids just openly talk about sex with people online, because that tells a predator that they are open to this idea and they are more approachable in their mind. And then lastly, those kids who are posting comments about feeling unloved or neglected, maybe they don't feel like people care about them at home, and so they make comments saying, my parents just don't understand me, or nobody cares about me, or don't be surprised if I don't wake up in the morning. And I'm very sensitive and realize that there are students who feel that way, but posting posting it online is so dangerous. So anytime I talk to students, I always remind them of that and say, if you feel that way, do not post that online. Talk to somebody, a friend that you have in your life, but don't post that online, because that's what predators are looking for.
Absolutely. So when you say pics with too much, like not enough clothes, like what about bathing suits? Should we tell girls not to post bathing suit pictures?
That is the safest bet, absolutely, to not post pictures like that, because anytime you give a predator too much skin, that is something that they're going to look for.
Okay. All right. So what about friend requests? So like, I know kids that have like 1,000 people following them on Instagram. So why is it risky to accept friend requests from people that you don't know or just have mutual friends with?
The main thing is, and kids do this a lot, unfortunately, but the main thing is you just don't know who those people are. So anytime you accept a friend request from people that you don't know, that could be a stranger that you are welcoming in to see all of your information. And so when I ask students about it, I say, so do you accept friend requests from people that you don't know? And parents too. And sometimes they'll say no to that, but then I say, what about somebody that you have a mutual friend with? And then oftentimes students and parents say yes. But here's the problem, and I'll give you an example. So let's say that Candis and I have been friends for a really long time. We've known each other for a while, we go way back. We're friends on our social media. But one day, I get a friend request from this girl named Haley. And I have no idea who Haley is. I've never met her a day in my life, but I see that Candis is friends with Haley. And I trust Candis's judgment because I've known her for a long time. And so I think, okay, well, Haley must not be that bad. I'll go ahead and accept her as my friend too. But here's the problem. What if Candis doesn't actually know Haley? And she only accepted Haley because they have a mutual friend together too. So now Haley has access to my information and Candis's information, and who knows how many more people, but none of us know who she is. Haley may be a creeper out there, and we just don't know. And so that's the danger with accepting people that you don't know, even if you have mutual friends with them. So please be careful and don't do that.
Okay. For y'all's information, I don't think Haley's a creeper. She's running the camera tonight. It's all good. But what
Sorry,
about
Haley.
what about some warning signs for students that might have been approached by a predator? What is there for parents to look for?
Absolutely. So I want you guys to be aware of the warning signs that are out there, so that if you see this in your student, or maybe somebody that you're friends with, student, that you know if you start seeing some of these things, then you may know that that person has been approached. So some of the things that we see is that students will suddenly withdraw. So maybe they've been part of extracurricular activities at school, and they just suddenly withdraw because that's not important to them anymore. They start becoming isolated because predators want to pull them away from their family, their friends, and their normal social group that they're involved with. So they will be isolated from that. They start being super protective over their cell phone, because usually the cell phone is how they're talking to that person, and so they don't want anybody else to see what's going on with that cell phone. Maybe they're dating somebody much older than them, but they don't have a lot of information about them. If they start getting a lot of nice gifts, like somebody's buying them nice purses, taking them to get their nails done, that kind of thing, and they can't tell you what job that person has to tell you how they're getting that money, that's a big, big red flag. And maybe they just start lying a lot because they are trying to hide what's going on in their life, so they lie and maybe even miss a lot of school. Those are all some red flags. If you start seeing one of those things, that doesn't necessarily mean that your child has been approached by a trafficker or a predator, but if you start seeing all of these things or many of these things, then that can tell you that that's something to investigate further.
Right, because, teenagers can be ornery and they can isolate sometimes and be protective of their cell phones. But I think it's good to watch out for all of these because, we don't want it to happen. All right, so what about, I hear about this thing called Finsta. So what is it, and how do I know if my student has one?
Right, so Finstas are very popular among students nowadays. And if you don't know what that is, it stands for fake Instagram. So Finsta is an Instagram account that students will have to really fool their parents. So they may have their first account that their parent has access to, that their parent is aware about, but then they have this second account called their Finsta. And that's where they want to keep their personal, close friends, because that's the account that they're posting the information that they don't want mom and dad to see. And so that's the account that has that more provocative information and things like that. And so some of the ways that parents can find out if their student has a Finsta account is, number one, ask your student. And you may laugh at that because you think if your child has a Finsta, they're not going to tell you. But I always say, have open lines of communications with your kids. And so first, just ask them and give them that opportunity to tell you about it. But if they say no and you think it's still a possibility that my student has a Finsta account, the second thing you can do is check the drop-down menu under their name that they're logged into on their Instagram account, and they may be logged into both accounts at the same time. And so if it gives you an option for a second account, then that can tell you that maybe that's their Finstagram account. Now, if they're a little bit smarter and they log out of their second account, the other way that you can find out if your student has a Finsta account is by checking their followers, because in most cases they follow their Finsta account too. So check their followers and see if there's a picture under there that looks like your student, and if it's an account that you're not friends with and you're not following, then that may be their Finsta account.
That is brilliant.
Kids are smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I never would have thought to check followers. Like,
yes.
That 100% makes so much sense. All right, so
Absolutely.
we have a couple minutes left. What advice do you have for parents overall?
Yes, so the first thing, I'll say it again, really have open lines of communication with your kids. I don't suggest that you hide anything that you're doing from them. Have open lines of communication. Let them know that they can trust you, that you are a person who has valuable information, and really you're coming from a place where you just want to protect your students. So have open lines of communication with them and let them know about the dangers that are out there and your reason for wanting to protect them. And then number two, just remember that you are the exact person in that student's life that is there to walk them through this time that they are in. You are the parent that the Lord has put in that child's life. And so remember that you are exactly who that child needs for this time that they are going through. And then also, I know that a lot of this can be overwhelming because apps are constantly being updated. They're constantly changing with what kids are using, and you may feel like this is just too much to be able to handle. But remember that we have a sovereign God, and He is in control of all things, and He works all things together for good, and He is always with you. You can do this. You can set those alerts and follow trending apps to see what students are using, and you can keep your kids safe online. So just remember that. Those would be the things that I would say.
Good deal. Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for coming out and talking to us tonight. We're going to have a Q&A directly after this, so if you want to stay and ask some questions, your student pastor has actually been versed in all of this and gone through a training with Samantha, so feel free to ask any questions. We actually do offer counseling at the church, so if you find yourself in a little too deep, you can call the main Faith Promise number and you can set up a counseling appointment. And I do encourage parents to do that for any need. It doesn't have to be internet safety. And I just wanted to thank Pastor Zach for letting us come out and kind of educate you guys and be a support system for you. Parents are the first line of defense in their teenagers' lives, and we just want to do everything we can to support you and let you know that we're here for you. So thank you so much, and on to the Q&A.